daughter that's like, my father can't do no wrong.
Exactly.
Like you could tell him, I tell her I did everything. She's like, nah, my pops and
As a matter of fact, I've never met a girl with a father who ain't tell me about it. Because any girl that grew up with a father be like, yo, my daddy don't talk to me like that. Or I grew up with a father, you can't do this to me. You can't do that. They always put it in your face because when they have that father figure, they know that they always got a man in their corner. Yeah. That shit is different.
My daddy beat your ass.
Exactly. You know what I mean? They all say that.
And then you got a daddy that could beat that ass and you're sitting there and be like, God damn, that's your dad?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You pull out the 38 like Shannon Crowder was talking about.
That's his mom, right? Like that's his mom. My older sister, my dad can't do no damn wrong.
There you go.
Can't call shit out. Oh, don't be talking about my father that way. It's my father too, goddamn. What the fuck you talking about? You know what I mean? But it is how it is. So I just can't imagine, for me, I just got a boy right now. Like physically there, he's there. He's been there for 19 months now. And I can't imagine him not being around.
Right.
And with Kevin, Schoolboy, Harlem, he's been through a lot. And people have certain perceptions of him. So I wanted you to kind of let the people know more about your son and let the world know who he truly is.
I'm going to tell you the truth, man. I feel like what I went through made my son who he is, right? But at the same time, I got to be honest and say what I went through made him stronger. You know what I'm saying? But, sometimes we as fathers, we get caught up in life. You know what I'm saying? And kids don't understand that. So you got to remember, I was locked up 11 years out of his life. And then when I came home, I got with Bad Boy. So therefore, I'm not in his life. You know what I'm saying? I'm running around. I'm in this country, that country, this thing, that. I'm taking care of stuff financially, but it's bigger than financial. You see what I'm saying? Like the world be having us so messed up that we feel like it's all about the bread and the butter. Like we got to make sure they got. But nah, sometimes you got to get your son and you got to hold him like, hold up. And I never did that with Kevin. You know what I'm saying? I'm just watching his accolades. I'm watching him play ball. I'm watching him get a scholarship to college. I'm watching him. He went from Catholic school to Mary Bertram in Brooklyn. And I'm watching him in the newspaper. I'm listening. I'm watching his story from people telling me, yo, your son playing in the Rucker, but I ain't got time to go there because I'm trying to get this money. You know what I'm saying? I'm living somebody else's life. You know what I'm saying? I'm watching their kids. I'm doing everything for them. I'm not even doing nothing for mine. I don't even know that my son is basically like when he got incarcerated, all I know is Schoolboy, the dude that get the A's. That's why they call him Schoolboy. Right. I don't know the dude that I find out, oh, yeah, he's a blood. You know what I'm saying? I find out, oh no, he's the head of the Bloods in this. I look at tattoos. I don't even know what 5 stars mean on your arm. Other people is telling me, and I'm like, yo, you sure this my son? And they like, yo. And then it was one day that me and him got into an argument, and I punched him in his face, and he ain't move. Like, it ain't even faze him. I mean, I really literally punched him in his face, and he did one of these. Yo, Pop. And that's when I realized I had a man on my hands. Right. Like, yo, I got a man. And me and him had a talk. And he packed his stuff and he left. And that's why I feel so hard on going for him, because I felt like I took away his chance by not being there for him. You know what I'm saying? So when I look at him, I look at Schoolboy. And Schoolboy is the person that I feel like he really wanted to be, but by me leaving, I gave him no choice but to become who he had to come, because I forgot that we still live in Harlem. We still in the hood. So he's getting a certain look, like, yo, Bon's your father? Yeah. And when somebody told me, yo, you know what he doing, right? I said, what he doing? He trying to be you. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Trying to outdo you, actually.
Exactly. And I'm like, damn, B, you right. And he see, yo, he look up to you. And when me and him used to sit down and talk, I started seeing that. But it was a little too late. You know what I'm saying? It was a little too late. He was getting like he had a full scholarship for basketball. And they called me up there one day. If you remember back in the days when they had Wilding? Mm-hmm. So he was getting ready to get kicked out of college for a Wilding event where they jumped the dude that they got on the basketball team, and they shaved off the dude eyebrows. But the school itself got involved in it when he said, Pop, this is just what we do to the rookies when they come in.
They call it the hazing.
Yeah, hazing.
Yeah.
But the mother and father got involved and they went to the school and said, yo, if y'all don't kick him out, and I was able to save him that first time. I went to the school. Of course, I used, I'm such and such, I work for such and such, and they're like, oh, okay, we're going to give him another shot.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But then it had turned him off, and he never got back into that. So he came home and he went to BCC, right, which is a college in Manhattan. But he said, yo, Pop, that's a D school. He said, I don't want to play ball for them.
Right.
But I'm trying to tell him, I said, but it's a free education. But he ain't trying to hear that because he's stuck on, I want to go to a A school.
Right, he want to play ball. He ain't worried
he
about the
play ball.
shit.
Yeah, but I'm trying to show him, like, you got schools like St. John's, different places that people, I ain't going to say St. John's because that's like an A1 school. But it's a couple of schools in New York. It might be a couple in Buffalo that they call D schools, and people actually started there and then went to the next joint.
Right.
But for him, it was taking too long. You know what I'm saying? And that's what made him go to the streets. You know what I'm saying? So I always had that on my back. You know what I'm saying? I always had that. And that's why now I go so hard for him, man, because no matter what anybody else will see, I'm going to always see Schoolboy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's life.
And it's the same way you're saying of, the daughter looks at the father like he could do no wrong. It's you looking at your son because you know who your son truly is.
Truly is. Exactly. And I know that he got caught up in something that he knew nothing about. You know what I'm saying? That's the one thing I do know. And that's why I go so hard, because the first thing I did is look him in his eyes. And one thing I did have a chance to teach him was tell the truth.
Now, could you break that down for the people, what actually did go down?
Well, I had came home because every Christmas, like I said, I'm with Puff. You know what I'm saying? On the 26th, I'm going to Miami to spend Christmas with his family and everything. I'm there for the 25th. 26th, I'm going there. So I came home on the 26th, and he said, Pop, I'm going to Africa. So I said, yo, you going to Africa? I said, what you going to Africa? I'm going to tell you the truth. Dad, I ain't believe him. I was like, you ain't even got no fucking passport. You know what I'm saying? But he like, yo, I'm going to Africa. So if you remember back in 2012, you had Tyson Bedford, you had Teddy Riley, and I Need a Roughneck, So everybody from the hood was modeling back then. You know, they had the tattoos and all. So he said, I'm going out there to do some different type of pictures on them. So I'm in my bag. So I'm like, all right, here goes some money. I gave him a box of Sean John clothes. I said, here goes some Sean John. I'm gonna holler at you when I get back. So I really didn't think he was going.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then January 7th, I was in Paris. And I got a phone call and they said, yo, Kevin locked up. I said, Kevin ain't locked up. He bailed out. They said, nah, he locked up in Africa. I said, locked up in Africa? For what? Murder. And then I just got on the plane and I went down there. You know what I'm saying? And I looked him in his eyes and I said, yo, this is the one thing I want you to do. I'm going to be here regardless. We're going to fight this regardless because you my son. I said, but did you do it? And he looked me in my eyes and said, Pop, I ain't do this shit. And that's when the fight was on. Because you only got to tell me one time because I know my son. You know what I'm saying? So when he said that, and I said, yo, all right, so what's this about? He said, God bless him. Because, no matter what, I still bless the family. He said, they said I killed this guy, Andre Heckermeyer. I said, for what? He said, that's what I'm trying to figure out. For what? He said, I didn't do it. And then from then, it was like, for what? And I'm still asking the same question. For what? And they still ain't told me for what to this day. But he's been here for 13 years. You know what I'm saying? And he just blew a trial. And they gave him 29 years. And I'm like, yo, what's the evidence? No gun, no fingerprints, no DNA, no eyewitnesses, no nothing. So one thing that he tell me is, though, I think I got myself into something that I ain't have no idea about by just being here and being American. But the one thing they didn't count on was the fact that he had a father, you know what I'm saying, who was like, nah, because I know him. If he say he ain't do it. See, when you go over to these third world countries, people got to realize they feel like they can do whatever they want to do with you. I've been in that situation. I've been in that predicament where things have been stolen. And when you walk into the precinct and you talk to him, oh, he's from America. He's going to be gone next week. So they're not going to investigate the situation. So it's the same thing with him. They didn't investigate the situation. He's from America. What is he doing here? And he's 22 years old. He's guilty. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we're dealing with right now. Right now, we're dealing with the situation of trying to show and trying to prove that he absolutely had nothing to do with the situation. So that's what the fight is about right now. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm dealing with.
And I do want to raise awareness for that. I know you have a GoFundMe for this. Can you let the people know what the GoFundMe is so we can get, and we'll also throw this up on there to try to raise money for him too.
We got the GoFundMe, we got the Cash App, we got the everything, and it's Justice for Kevin. But right now, I believe it's standing. I'll give it up, but I forget the name of it. But,
just get us that info and we'll definitely post it up for you.
Yeah, definitely.
And do you stay in contact with him now?
No question. I stay in contact with him. So what we're trying to get now is an advocate. So an advocate is somebody that works specifically on something. So of course, when I went down there, you know, I got a good lawyer and everything, but they tell me, they say, yo, a lawyer is not enough. You need a team. Damn. So right now, what we're doing is we getting an advocate who's just strictly working on the murder charge, because he got 13 years in and the judge sat there and he's trying not to give him the 13 years that he got in. You know what I'm saying? We've been to the embassy, we've been everywhere, and everybody is like shrubbing their nose to the situation because it's like, well, he's somewhere that he's not supposed to be. And my thing is, where is he not supposed to be? I thought this was America. I thought this was the land of the free. I thought he could go wherever he want to go. You know what I'm saying? A case is supposed to be built on evidence. You know what I'm saying? Like Johnny Cochran said, if it don't fit, it don't fit.
Quit. Yeah,
you must have quit.
You must have quit. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, forget what you think. You know, show me the evidence. Show me, prove it to me. Because it's one thing for sure, two things for certain. If you're 22 years old and you go out there and you commit a murder, you're going to fuck something up. You're going to leave something somewhere. Right. You're going to leave some fingerprints. You're going to leave some DNA. You're going to leave something. Y'all can't give me none of that. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I think that privilege is for certain people. Because if he did have the money and he did have the right legal team, he wouldn't be there right now.
And did your son ever meet Diddy?
Yeah, my son met Diddy before. And
I know that there was like a instance where he did speak out, if I'm not mistaken, right, about this entire thing.
He spoke out, you know, and I get on that because I'm gonna be real with you. He knew that if it was his child, 10 toes down, it wouldn't be no question about it. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be right there. But some people feel like different things are more important. You know, the image is more important. What people think of you is more important. When I thought the bond and the loyalty would be reciprocated. You know what I'm saying? But he did speak up. He did give me some money for the lawyer, but then he disappeared. And I'm like, you know, I gotta eat that. You know, I gotta understand that, but I'll never respect that. You know what I'm saying? That's where the loss of respect comes from, because you ain't staying 10 toes down for mine. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot of people that tell me different things. Yo, I remember this. I remember that. I remember when you was there. His own son tells me, yo, I remember when you came to every one of my football games. So even though that's supposed to be something good, right? I sit back and say, damn, his son could say I went to every football game. But my son can't say I went to every basketball game. Right. You know what I'm saying? So to me, that's what eats me. You know what I'm saying? And that's what eats me. A lot of people say, yo, but yo, you shouldn't be upset. And I say, yo, y'all don't understand. Okay, when you think of regular security, you think of a 9 to 5. But we talk about days where it was 32 hours, days where it was 36 hours, days when you get the call, yo, Sugar's outside the club. Okay. You 10 toes down now, whatever it is. So that type of loyalty, I expect more. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to sit with that chip on my shoulder no matter what nobody write me and say, yo, you're not supposed to feel this way. Yo, what that man do with his money is way. Nah. When you look me in my eyes and tell me, yo, You ain't never got to worry about nothing. You know what I'm saying? You ain't never got to, if I get $100 million, you ain't never got to worry about nothing. That's made because of the trials and tribulations and situations that y'all go through together and you survive. So that just sounds good at that particular time. Now I'm going to hold you to that, because if I can't hold you to that, then the relationship is nothing. I'm going to bring that back up. I'm going to bring that back up to everybody. We say that you not in my shoes. You don't understand what we've been through, and you wasn't there the night that this happened. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I stand on. I stand on all 10 toes. So if you tell me something, I'm going to hold you to what you tell me.
And I think that's absolutely fair, right? Like, your upbringing is the most important thing to you. My upbringing is the most important thing to me. If I value my friendships, my circle based on certain things, I don't want to change that 15 years down the line. Oh, well, you get an exemption because of this. Like, if you believe that, like, I'm somebody like that too. I think our bond is forever when we do something. If you're willing to die for me, our bond's got to be different than that normal employee-employer bond.
I mean, he said he was spending all his Christmases there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You putting his family above yours.
Exactly. And you getting paid for it, because a lot of people say, yo, you got paid for what you did. You know what I'm saying? So that's supposed to be the end of it. But that's not the end of it, because, I got a check. I take care of my family. Same way people say, yo, you stood there and you did this, that, and the other while he did this, that, and the other. Okay, I'm getting a paycheck. I'm there. When you locked up, I'm going to tell you one of the worst things, that when you locked up and you come home, finding a job is one of the worst things. I've actually sat down and put all my ego to a side when a family member might have been sick and I needed to be there, right? So I'm willing to work at Walmart or whatever to be in this city or this town for this particular family member. And Walmart will hit you back and tell you, yo, nah, you can't get there. All right, well, fuck it. I'm going to drive Lyft then. And Lyft will hit you back and say, yo, you can't get that job neither. So, you know what I'm saying? So it's not that easy when you come home, man, to find a job, to get on your feet. So sometimes you do turn a blind eye to certain things that's going on that you feel might be wrong.
Yeah,
because you putting your family first.
And you were saying, like, a lot of times that the shit that was negative for other jobs, for puffing them, it was a plus. You know what I'm saying?
And it ain't just puffing them. It's just anybody back in that day. If you look at Death Row, if you look at Cash Money, if you look at Bad Boy, it was all about your entourage. It was all about the dudes that was around you, the dudes that was ready to live and die for you, and that made you authentic.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? As time went on, it got into the professionalism. You know, people started making real money. People started becoming businessmen. And then these companies began to tell people, look, that's not a good look. We don't want him around you, or we don't want her around you. And some people stand on all 10 and say, nah, homie was with me when this happened. I'm not going to let you dictate who could do such and such for me. And then some people give in to the dollar and they let corporate run what they do. And that's one of the things that we dealing with. But even when you dealing with that, it's all, and one of the dudes that I really respect, it is Jay-Z for that particular thing. He don't hide certain people that's around him
I feel you.
that you know was in the street, that you know was doing certain things because they was with him when he was on the come up.
Right.
So from being with him on the come up, that means we're going to enjoy this success together. If we can't enjoy this success together, then what is success? You know what I mean?
Now, for Diddy, right? He does pay the attorney, he does speak up, and he's still paying you a salary. For the people that say that should be enough, you know, he did pay for the attorney. I don't know if he just paid like a startup fee for the attorney.
He paid. Let me say, he paid a 80 bit.
Okay,
but let me tell you what gets me about that. If it was another rapper, or if it was somebody of significant other that he feel he could get front page news of, Diddy pays for attorney for such and such and such. Not a fraction of it. You know what I'm saying? You know what situation and predicament that I'm in. And then this is my son. This ain't my man. This ain't my friend. This ain't my cousin. This is my son. So it's like when you go up in the streets, me and you might have beef. Like, we got real beef. But then something happened to your son, and you might see that car pull up, and you thinking homie there the beef, and he got the bag. And he said, oh, man, get your boy.
Right.
You know, we carry this on later on. But get your boy, my dude. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I was expecting because everything ain't got to be front page. All you had to do was call a certain person and say, yo, listen, man. That nigga, he ain't asking me for no money for himself. He asking me for some money for a lawyer. Just pay the lawyer directly. If you don't want to give me the money, pay the lawyer directly. And that's what he did with the $25,000 he gave me. He paid the lawyer directly. So he knew that it wasn't a game. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you want to put a cap on it, yo, what it's going to cost? 100,000?
Right.
Okay, let's put a cap on that. You know what I'm saying? But 25,000 to me is like, I watch you throw that in the club. So some people will be like, yo, but that's not your business. Nah, it's deeper than that. It is my business. You know what I'm saying? And if it was the street business, I would handle it a different way. But we all know you can't handle things that way nowadays. Right. You know what I'm saying? You can't handle it. The same way, no disrespect to nobody, same way these podcasters get on and they talk and they say certain things. Mm-hmm. Back in the day, they wouldn't do that because they know when they came out that studio, you might be right there. Well, yo, what was that shit you just said? But nowadays, you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Because they supposed to be what you call civilians. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So people was quick to say, yo, but a civilian is not held to the same rules that.
Right, we just media. We
just media.
Yeah.
Nah.
Hell nah.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, then watch your mouth then. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? If you're not gonna watch your mouth, then you should be able to handle everything that comes that way. So being that I can't go that way, I gotta handle it the best way I know how.
Yeah, and it's out there, right? Like you post videos on Instagram, social media, and then
which was new to me.
Yeah.
You know, I never lived that life before. Like, I'm gonna tell you the truth, all the years I was with Puff, you bet not say where we at. You bet not say what we doing. It wasn't until like maybe 2013 or 14 where people got into the Instagram thing and it was okay to say, yo, we're going to be in Miami this weekend. Because before that, we couldn't say what we was doing and where we was going. So I just want to point out that social media is new to me, but it also gets you results.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And that's why you're here today on the Dancer Project.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Wouldn't be nowhere else.
Yeah, I appreciate that too. Yeah. So, you know, for the people